Hi guys, it's Jan here with another VBA video. In the previous video we have shown how to use for each loop in order to loop through every open workbook, and in particular open workbook to loop through all its sheets. And we just taken the name of each open workbook, put it in first row, and its corresponding sheets we have put in the rows below. So we had these three workbooks opened. We had lots of data, so I will close it for now. I will close this one, this is not related. Sorry, clicked something else that I didn't want. We had also Excel loops final open. I will close this one for now. And we had also this training sheet open. So we have opened these two files manually and then ran the macro to extract the data. But let's say that I will delete those columns for now. Let's say that we have a folder in which we have lots of workbooks that we need to extract the data from, and it just doesn't have to be just the name of the workbook and name of the sheet. You can really extract anything from opened workbooks, but this time I will just show you how to open every workbook in this directory automatically using VBA, and then extract the information, and we're gonna keep the information for the purpose of this video the same workbook name and its worksheets, and again we are going to place them in here. So how do we do that? And then at the end, when the loop processes, the workbooks will be closed also automatically, so we shouldn't end up with the only one opened. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, let's expand on this code from the previous video, and we're going to need to declare two more variables. So we are going to declare my folder as string, because in my folder we are having the workbooks we need to open, and then another variable, my file, which will represent for us the string to the particular file in that directory. Okay, we will keep these variables from the previous video, so because we are going to run the same loop once those workbooks are opened. Here we have set up the destination to hold the sheet 4, but in reality the name here is saying sheet 1. In the previous video I was explaining the difference between the name of the sheet in brackets and the name of the sheet before brackets. The name of the sheet before brackets is so-called code name, and it can be used as well to mapping the particular sheet into the variable. It has certain advantages, so if you're interested, please see the previous video. Okay, so we're gonna keep it as it is, and now we are going to define where our folder is. So we just copy my folder equals, and we go to the directory. We copy the path from here, we put it in the double quotes and close it with the double quotes. And so we now have the path to the folder in the variable my folder. Now we also have to set the variable for my file, so we just say my file equals, and for us to get the string of each of the files in this directory, Sorry, if someone knows how to get rid of those messages, just drop me the note in the comments. I'll be really glad. So we are going to define also the string for the file. So for this we are going to use a dir function. So we type dir and we open parentheses, and the dir function basically returns the path name to the file or directory. In this instance we are going to use it to get the string of the file. So we are going to copy this my folder, which we have set in here, and we are going to join it with the Excel file. So to join two strings together, we are going to use the ampersand character. So ampersand, and now double quotes, and after the string to my folder we need to define the file. So we are going to type a backslash because we don't have it here at the end of my folder path, and the complete path to the file is this one with the backslash at the end and the name of the particular file. Okay, so we need to define that in the dir function. So my folder, ampersand, double quotes, backslash, and we are going to be looking for every file in the directory one by the other. So the name of the file is going to be represented by a wildcard for us, and the wildcard will be asterisk, and then we are going to type dot and we are going to define the extension of the file. So we start XL, and if you look here in the directory we have several extensions here. We have XLSM, we have XLSX, but we also have just XLS. So we are going to open all of them. So for the extension we also use the wildcard, yeah, and we close it with double quotes and close parentheses. Okay, so this is going to represent for us the string to the folder, and this is going to represent for us the string to the file. And now we are going to be looping through the folder and opening each workbook in there one by one. So for that we are going to use do while loop, do while, and we are going to be looping while my file is not empty. So to define that we just say do while my file and double quotes, then we close the loop by saying loop, and loop will just be opening the workbooks. So workbooks dot open, and what we are opening here, so we are saying file name colon and equals, and then we are going to have to join the folder path with the file path. So again, copying the folder path variable, then joining it with the backslash again because it's not at the end. So backslash, double quotes, ampersand again, and my file. So this is the first line of the code in the loop, and the second line of the code will just be my file equals dir. Okay, why this? Because once this first workbook in the directory gets opened, if this line wasn't there, then the loop would just be opening the first one, which was set in here. So we're going to have to tell the loop to switch to another one in that directory, and we are going to do it by using this line. Okay, so I save it just to be safe, and then alright, so when we run the code line by line, step by step, so you can see we are setting the sheet in here, and here you can see that my folder variable is now empty, but when the line is executed, it gets the value of our folder, path to our folder. And using this function dir, we will take the string of a name of the first file in that folder, so F8, and you can see that my file now is business to, well, whatever, so you can see the name in there. And when the loop goes through, it checks the condition. My file isn't empty, so it progresses and it opens the first workbook. Okay. Hey, come on, this is just my, you can see that the first workbook has been opened. This is just my machine being really slow, so so bear with me, but we are on the right track. So once this line is executed, and my file gets set to another worksheet in that directory. You can see that right now we have opened week 01, but my file is now week 02. So if the loop goes on, it opens another one. Okay, you can see that 02 is now opened, and so on, and so on, and so on. So I will put a breakpoint here, and I will open all the remaining workbooks by pressing this play button. Yeah, I'm sorry, I've chosen the files in the directory with the macros in them, and they are set to start up when the file opens. So that's why you see this window, but I just close this down. And the loop has finished. Okay, so now we have all of these opened. Yeah, and if I run this to the end, then the code from the previous video that we are familiar with would take the name of each of them and the worksheets of each of them. But for now, just put one more line in here, and we say workbook close. And so this line would automatically close the workbook once it extracts the information. And we are not going to be doing any changes in those workbooks when we are extracting the information, but just to be safe, to not to bother with any pop-up windows asking us for saving the changes, which sometimes happens even though you didn't change anything. We just set the parameter save changes to false, and we're gonna have to do one more thing. We're gonna have to limit this training sheet workbook in which the macro resides out of the loop, because once this one would get activated and this line would be executed, it would close the workbook. So we don't include this one in the loop, okay? And we are going to do it the way using if parameter, and we are saying if function, and we are saying if active workbook, control space to finish the word, select from the drop down menu, click tab, dot and parameter name, click tab, is not equal to this workbook dot name, then we execute this loop, okay? And we end if here, and if, okay? So if active workbook is this one in which the macro is, this will be skipped and won't be executed, and it means that the workbook will not get closed. Okay, so I will just run it to the end. You can see it's taking the information and closing one after the other. Okay, again the macro, sorry, just click it up. This one as well. And it's finished. Okay, if I didn't choose the files in the directory with automated macro startup, then we wouldn't have to be clicking anything, but I think that we have learned how to do it despite this. So the macro has finished, and you can see that each workbook which has been opened, which was in total 25 workbooks, each of those has the corresponding information below the workbook name, which is in the first row, and then there is an amount of sheets in that workbook and their names below the workbook name. Okay, so if we really want to be safe and check whether the extraction of the data was correct, then let's go just open business week 02. Just manually, okay, and if we go, click enable editing first, and if we go to the very first one, yeah, you can see that it starts with topics, then goes on formula notes, examples, formulas, examples of formulas, answer. So let's go see back here, topics, formula notes, examples, formulas, example of formulas, answer. Okay, so we can be safe to assume that the rest would be correct as well. This was two loops combined together. Do while loop, we have used that loop in order to open each workbook in the specified directory. To define the path of the workbook name, we have used the dir function, and then for extracting the names of the workbooks, we have used for each to loop through every open workbook, and to extract the name of its worksheets, we have used for each to loop through each sheet in currently active workbook. And then we have closed every workbook at the end. And to be safe and not to close this training sheet one in which the macro is, we have included it out of this loop. We didn't include it in this loop by saying if the current active workbook name is not equal to this workbook name, then loop and extract what we need and close the workbook. So thank you for watching. Hope you find this useful, and let's see you with some of the other videos. Thank you. Bye.